Good morning once again, everyone. The morning show continues here on LoveFM, Love Television at 9 minutes after 8 o'clock. In the studios with me are Dr. Cynthia Ed, Provost at Galen University, and Dr. Dorian. Barrow, of course, is the Dean and Associate Professor for Education at the university as well. Good morning. I have that right, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Dr. Barrow also assumed the new post of the Director of STEM AI Education at Galen University as
AI
well.
education.
STEM AI and Robotics.
STEM AI and Robotics, yes.
Nice. What does that mean for you? You have to do some research on AI?
Well, I have to do a lot of research on a lot of things. AI, on robotics. Just yesterday, I was at the Belize High School talking to the STEM specialist there, who also happens to be a Galen graduate.
That's right.
Mr. Carrillo. And most importantly, to get the STEM program going, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is urgently needed. It fits in beautifully with the new plan for this strategy in science, technology, and innovation. We are now going to be training, educating our citizens for a very specific end, right? So I'm looking forward to those challenges.
Explain that to me a little more.
Right.
When you say educating the citizens, where? But I, as a student, can take a different path if I want. Can I? In the system.
Yes.
That is correct. Right.
Yeah.
When I was going to school, when I was going to high school and then junior college here, that I did at the high school at St. Michael's College, junior college at St. John's College, right? I was a science student, right? I majored in physics, chemistry, biology. And what could I do with that?
Right.
At that time, the options were very, very limited.
Very limited, huh?
Right? We all wanted to become doctors.
Yeah.
And of course, if we didn't make that, for whatever reason, we ended up teaching, right? They're developing now a strategy where they are going to be seeking investment opportunities, business opportunities for companies to be established in Belize that will be involved in science, technology, and innovation. The idea is that at some point, Belize will become a producer of innovation rather than a consumer, right? And so we'll be needing specific scientists, specific engineers. We will need mathematicians, a fixed number, and that type of thing. So it is now geared towards something very, very, very specific and very systematic.
Well, I'm sure that, like you said, Galen is going to be involved in this.
Yes.
How other countries, I know, like especially the Asian countries, they identify the students.
Yes.
If they find that you're strong in a certain area, they encourage you to do that. Are we going to do that? Are we going to try and call those who are more scientific than the rest of us?
Well, our strategy is to start from early, right? As a matter of fact, from primary school to begin to orient them to STEM education, right? With the hope that they will transition into STEM careers of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? It is still right now going to be left up to the students, right?
Okay.
But we are hoping that with the increasing the quality of the teaching and increasing the quality of the environment, increasing
You'll
the
make it more
exposure
attractive.
that they get, much more students, especially women, right? And men, and some of the young, especially some of the black men that are in these urban communities will become more attracted to STEM careers. And it's not just going to be just getting education for an education's sake. It's going to be tied to employment.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Am I on the right track asking
Yes.
those questions? What's happening at Galen? And how is Galen involved in all this?
Well, Galen is about a year ago, about 18 months ago, Dr. Barrow asked, he came up with the idea of a STEM program at Galen. He came up with the idea of a STEM center where this would take place. And he asked for a lab, a small lab for us to begin our work in. And that's what we've done. Over the period of time, over the past year or so, he's developed partnerships with organizations outside of Belize who are assisting us in getting this program going. So that's one of the exciting things that's happening at Galen. Another exciting thing is that, related to this, is that AI is a part of all of our lives today, whether we like it or not. We are influenced by AI, we are directed by AI. And so one of the things that we are doing is adjusting our programs to have that all students will have at least an introductory course in the AI and how it affects our daily lives and how to use AI ethically in the work that we do in the academy, wherever. Another really exciting thing, and I will announce this and then I will ask Dr. Barrow to elaborate a little bit more. We all know that the Dr. Alvaro Rosado recently passed away. And for us at Galen, this was particularly meaningful for us because for many of us, he had a profound impact on our lives. For Dr. Barrow and I, and Dr. Catus, Dr. Harrison, he was our colleague. He was the vice president of finance and administration at the University College of Belize, and I think for a short while at UB as well.
Yes.
But even before that, he worked at the Belize Teachers College as a teacher, a science teacher educator at the Belize Teachers College, working with hundreds of elementary school, primary school teachers across Belize. And then when the Teachers College was absorbed into Belfast, he worked at Belfast with us. At Galen, we wanted to honor his memory. For many years, we have been participating and supporting the Ariel Rosado Memorial Foundation by granting 2 scholarships to students to attend Galen, students who have graduated out of the primary schools, out of the secondary schools where they got scholarships. So two of the students transitioned to Galen. And we thought, when we learned of Dr. Rosado's passing, we thought one of the best way that we could honor his memory was to introduce the Alvaro Rosado Memorial Scholarship for an elementary school teacher. Dr. Barrow, maybe you could talk a little bit more about Alvaro.
Okay.
Well, it is indeed a pleasure and a privilege, Provost. Thank you very, 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 very much. Dr. Rosado was a very close friend and colleague of mine for many, many years. I met him in 1976 in Calgary, Alberta. As a matter of fact, when I was finishing my first degree, he was coming to Calgary to start his first degree. And so we spent about a month or so together, and we have been friends ever since then. But Dr. Rosado has, has made very significant contributions to higher education in Belize. And I think I was so delighted when the Provost came up with this idea of a scholarship for him. First of all, he contributed significantly to the development of the National University. He was there at the beginning with Dr. Carl and others, right, including Mr. Kano, to set up the structure for that national university that we now have today as UB. And that has gone through a lot of iterations. It was Belfast, then it became UCB, and finally UB. And he made a significant contribution to that, especially in setting up the administrative structures and in setting up the financial structures. But in addition to that, Alvaro contributed significantly in transforming the higher education landscape.
Yes.
Right? he was interested in creating more access opportunities for our citizens, right? As you know, for many, many years, if we wanted university education, we had to leave the country.
That's right.
And he was convinced that that will need to continue. But if we're going to advance in the way we want to advance, we have to develop our own infrastructure.
Yeah.
And he contributed significantly to creating those accesses, right? So that students can have more access to higher education. He worked with financial institutions so that they can make funding available. And of course, he worked with the Association of Secondary School Principals so that we could get more students to go into the... So he contributed rather significantly to the to changing the whole ecosystem of the higher education system. But I think most significantly, he tried, and a lot of this on his own, right, to make the education system more equitable, right? He himself had come from poor beginnings, and he knew what it was to want to have access to education and don't have the means by which you can do that. And so he spent a lot of his time organizing possibilities for students to access.
Right.
For example, he established when his son died, he established the R.L. Rosado Foundation, and that foundation provided scholarships for high school students on an annual basis. He really wanted to make higher education more affordable, and he contributed significantly in those areas. So I thought that this naming this scholarship after him would be a tremendous recognition of the contribution, the sterling contribution that he has made to higher education.
And in this case, it's directed for teachers.
For primary school teachers.
Primary school teachers.
Because he worked with primary school teachers when he was a teacher educator. Galen also has a Dame Minita Gordon scholarship for secondary school teachers as well.
Okay.
And so both of those, among other scholarships, are offered and named for people. One of the things that Alvaro also did, apart from being a mentor for me and encouraging me and almost bamboozling me to go do Dr. Rosada and Dr. Barrow to go and do my PhD and to complete it. They both bamboozled me into looking after my higher education studies. So in a very real sense, I wouldn't be here without these people.
That kind of encouragement.
But one of the things that Dr. Rosada also did was during the time when the University of Belize was being formed, he articulated on paper how higher education ought to be organized. And so he put down on paper the idea of a higher education commission that would look at how it would function, and how higher education in Belize would function, what its roles would be, and how it could be funded. He didn't call it the National Accreditation Council, but he also proposed how accreditation would work in Belize. So those things he put on paper, and a lot of those discussions, he had a lot of discussions with me about that. So I learned so much from him. And I see some of those ideas, those early ideas that he had, I see those now reflected. These are things that this government is now working on. And so I think it's, he was a visionary. He was a visionary. What we have today in part rests on the work that he did, the work that Dr. Barrow, Dr. Cal, Dean Khan, and Dr. Thompson, all of these early people in higher education that I've had the privilege of working with over Well, I don't want to say how many years because that begin to that will begin to age me. But and then to see some of the work that we did that was done then coming to fruition, bearing fruit today. That's really.
Yeah. And the scholarship is, I mean, for how long? Is it
It's
for a bachelor's or something like that?
The scholarship targets students who are transitioning from a junior college with an associate's degree in teaching. They transition into the university. They have to have a GPA of 3.0, and they have to reflect and have somebody, have two or three people write on their behalf that they. What kind of person they are, their commitment to education, what they believe, the role that education can play in their lives, and that they have to have a civic pride. They have to be nationalist civic pride. They have to have a commitment to social justice,
right,
and so on. So it reflects some of the values that Dr. Rosado reflected in his life. So
why specifically primary school?
Because that's where he did his teacher training.
Okay.
That's what he did for yes.
All right.
And we already have we're already assisting secondary school teachers, so we wanted to actually Galen University assists all teachers because all teachers
you have all the
we have all
studies
teachers, but
available.
all of our teachers have a discount on their a significant discount. They pay $200 a credit.
Speaking of that, the finances and of course, an educator getting a good education is not cheap.
No.
And I know that, like Galen tries really hard to keep it as I use the word affordable. But how is that possible? How do you offer all these scholarships? Somebody has to pay for it at some point.
Well, we believe in giving as much as we can to Belize and to those that we that need the help.
Yeah.
And this might sound very basic, very naive, but it is in giving that we receive. And Galen has been very fortunate in being able to do the things that we do. We don't have donors.
Yeah, you don't. At least I know the universities here are not like
Good
in the US where you have benefactors and
good management.
Yeah,
good management. That's what we have. That we have good management.
Because at some point you have costs.
Yes.
You have administrative costs.
Yes.
I mean, would I be right in saying that persons like yourselves are actually maybe not getting paid what you're worth? In a sense,
Yes,
I mean, if you were in another market,
if I was at another institution, I might be paid more.
Do you have, like at your university, do you have tenure? After you work a certain time, you get tenure,
we don't use the word tenure, and I don't think that we can afford to have tenure.
Right.
Primary and high school teachers could be said to have tenure, and some high school principals could tell you that it's a bad thing because it makes it difficult to get rid of bad teachers.
Yeah. True.
So we don't use the word tenure, but we have staff, and we are adding to our faculty this year, and so we are a growing institution, as we grow, we have to add more faculty. And part of that growth means that we need to also collect on our the tuition from our students. And we have a really small but hard-working student financial advisors who work with our students, help them to develop affordable payment plans, help them to access student loans. We work with DFC. We refer students to loans at the DFC. We have our finance officers are connected directly to other finance officers at the Development Finance Corporation, and so there's a two-way back and forth going on constantly.
Yeah.
And so, but they work almost 24/7 sometimes with
So
students to ensure.
you have like a collection agency within the
No,
Yes, you have to have
because
a
you
collection
have-
agency,
we do
yes,
have-
right?
what I'm coming at is
we
that
do have one officer.
But we're also looking for other financial partners.
Right.
Because key to access is financing.
right.
And so we would like, we have developed this wonderful relationship with the Development Finance
Yes,
Corporation, but we would want to develop relationships with banks. We would want to develop relationships with credit unions, right, that would help to fund students' education at an institution like Galen. We really and truly have to invest in our citizens so that we could increase our overall profile and overall national capacity, especially to be able to respond to what they have planned
Right.
for those people in the employment business. So increasing access is critical, and getting signing up with other financial
And
agents
and members of the private
It's key.
sector that would also want to contribute, because the private sector also needs to step up to the plate and to help to create access for the very same people that they have to work with, who will become their employees at
Yeah.
some point in the future.
Yeah.
That is correct. So,
Because after
so we partner with Rotary, for example. Rotary gives a scholarship. The Tom Moran scholarship have just recently come up, right? So we're looking for those kinds of partnerships with the business sector so that more of our students.
why I ask the question is because after
education.
many conversations with you all and your staff, Galen has a vision for the future.
Right.
It wants to be, if possible, the institution in the country when it comes to university status. But to achieve
The
that,
Harvard of Belize, that's what
right, to achieve that, you need money.
resources.
Let's face
Right.
it. I mean, the student loan in America is incredibly, I mean, the kids can't pay their loans. You know, so and this is the big country with all the benefactors and so on. So Galen has to be very careful how it moves forward.
Yes.
And the thing, you need students. Without students, you won't function. Without students, you don't get tuition.
No.
You know, so all this has to come into play.
Right.
So before we end, where is this headed, and what's the future?
We're gonna soar like the eagles.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, one of the things that one of our way forward is to create more programs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Create more programs that are relevant to the sustainable
And-
development of Belize.
Yeah.
And one such set of programs are the STEM programs, the AI programs, and programs in robotics.
It shows that you're progressive.
And
you're moving with the times.
we also work with multinationals, like for example some of the UN agencies. We have some programs that are in development right now. For example, in disaster risk mitigation,
There you go.
and which
That's
we
what
really,
I'm saying.
we really
You're
need some.
diversifying, being progressive, and
Right.
you can't compromise the quality of
No, no.
that degree.
No,
that
no,
has
we
that
can't.
has to have value.
Right.
Again, that's what brings more
Right.
to Galen. Any
Yes.
final words from you before we go this morning?
No, I think between Dr. Barrow and I, Dr. Katus, Dr. Harrison, and others at Galen University, I think we have over 100 years of experience and.
You don't look it.
Well, together, we have over 100 years of expertise in higher education. We have and what we have is a faculty and staff. And I have to emphasize the staff, because while the faculty are they are on the classrooms delivering the courses and grades, and I signed the diplomas along with the president and the chairman.
Yeah.
There are a group of people that we don't really see. The people, the registrar and her staff, the chief finance officer and his staff,
Yeah.
even our plant maintenance crew, everybody plays a really keen role
course,
in
of
delivering that Galen product. So it's not just about us who come to these talk shows and dress up in the regalia and stand on the stage. There are bunch of other people
behind the scenes, right? Who are running
so
the show.
we do have a tightly knit group of people who make things happen for Galen and who are equally committed to the vision, as committed as Dr. Barrow and I are saying here, that make this dream come true for our students.
You can't deny the vibrancy of the university,
No.
the diversity of it, and the vision into the future, and
Right.
that's the picture you.
Yeah,
you-
my
you
final
want to give
word,
out there.
Ernesto, is that we are open for business, right? Students, we want you to seriously consider Galen. Galen University has several categories of programs. We have about 25 bachelor's degree programs. We have 5 master's degree programs. As a matter of fact, we have just put on 2 master's degree programs this year. One in social work and another one in educational leadership. And that have been added
we
to
reintroduce economics soon.
the masters that we have in economics, in business administration, and in sustainable in developmental studies.
Yeah.
We also have certificate programs and diploma programs, right? And we are open for business. Students can apply, right? As you say, we are trying to make the educational journey as affordable as possible by looking at all these opportunities, including scholarship opportunities. We are the only university that has a student loan program. Come and talk to us.
That's right.
Come and talk to us.
Galen could be the key for your future. Thank you very much, Dr. Yeda. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You were recognized at the AtLibs 35th anniversary gala
Thank you.
recently. You know,
Thank you, yes.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations to you, and congratulations to Galen, of course.
Thank
and
you.
all. Thank you very much, Dr. Eve Aird and Dr. Dorian Barrow. I know you have students to go inspire, so we leave you at that.
Okay,
Thank you for
thank
coming
you.
in. And folks, we'll continue with the subject of education. We have some guests here from Pathlight, and we'll be talking about teachers. So stay with us, please.